Thanksgiving week is here, folks. Happy early holiday to all of you who are traveling, because I think Monday is one of the busiest travel days in the history of the United States. So yeah, it's going to be a busy day for a lot of people out there. This week is very chaotic because we have all of that going on. We have multiple games on Thursday, so we're going to preface that by saying set all your lineups. Make sure you are prepared if you have time, because you don't want to get stuck Thursday waking up late on the West Coast and realizing, oh, there's games playing, and I have not set my lineup. So that is why we're here. We're doing the Waiver Wire show bright and early, midday Monday. I'm with myself, Justin Muller, with Jeremy. How you doing today, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm good. I think it's Tuesday, though. Is it Tuesday?
Yeah, dude, that's the, right now, that's where my headspace is. I don't know what day it is anymore. Yeah, it's Tuesday. Yeah, I should know this because I normally have 2 days off, but it's just, I'm all over the place.
Listen,
no sleep.
we are grinding it. We are grinding in the fantasy streets. We are grinding in the reality streets. I got my dog in a cone this morning at the vet. Got a big old cone on his head. I feel like that scene in Dumb and Dumber where he's going, we got no food, we got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off. It's just, it's chaotic here in week 13, but we press on. 2 more weeks before you punch your ticket to the playoffs. So we are here rolling with the Waiver Wire show.
Yes, and for those of you that advanced in Scott Fishbowl, like the two of us, humble brag here. Congrats on making it to the top 1,500. We will keep trying to keep this popsicle stand going. We don't know how long it's going to go, but we're going to enjoy this ride while it lasts, folks.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of wide receivers and tight ends, let's jump into those guys because they're a pretty fun group to talk about. The deep leagues guy that I want to highlight is DeVaughn Vele. Over his last 3 games, he's finished wide receiver 37 or better in all of those games. He's averaging 12.83 PPR points per game. And he's got 4 targets minimum in each of those games. It seems like he's taken a step forward as the wide receiver 2. He's also he's another big body guy. He's like 6'5", I think he is. Him and Cortland Sutton are kind of the twin towers of that offense. Like that's kind of what they're building with Sean Payton. Really gives you that end zone threat. I like him in that range. The other guys who just popped up out of nowhere is David Moore having double-digit target last week. Go figure where that came from. I don't know, but that's something you should keep an eye on. And if you want to target that, you can. Elijah Moore's at 24%. You could do the Elijah Moore thing. Nick Westbrook-Akine just keeps finding the end zone. It's like 6 straight games or something absurd. I think he's got 30 targets and 6 touchdowns. Like, it's an insanely high ratio. I don't know how realistic it is, but hey, ride the lightning, right? And then the other guy's Noah Brown at 19%. Noah Brown has significantly yes. We'll get to him too. Noah Brown has significantly out-targeted Terry McLaurin in the last few weeks. So he has like 10 more targets than him in the last few weeks. So I don't know what's going on with that offense, but it's Jaden Daniels. I want a guy connected to that offense so you could do that. And then lastly, Calvin Austin had a boom. I think he's right on that roster percentage. I think he's 24. So you could technically make the case for this year or the next year. But why don't you make the case for Calvin Austin since you got him down there?
I don't need to make the case for Calvin Austin. I just thought it's interesting if we should figure out if we're going to do the Calvin Austin experiment. I mean, he came down with some contested catches. We know he has deep speed. We know he can be used over the middle. We know he's better than Van Jefferson, even if Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers do not know that he's better than Van Jefferson. But I think Calvin Austin is at least interesting. Also, if you get any sort of points for return yards, he returns punts. So that's a boon for your lineup as well. But Calvin Austin has had a couple of big games this week. He's a downfield threat. He can pick up those yaks if needed. The problem is this Pittsburgh offense doesn't usually go off. However, he's playing the Cincinnati Bengals. We've already talked about it. I'm firing up everybody in this game. I think you can do a lot worse than a Calvin Austin. Guys that I have below Calvin Austin this week, assuming they all play, Darius Slayton, Dontavian Wicks, Ricky Pearsall, Demarcus Robinson caught a touchdown last week. So I think you could do a lot worse than Calvin Austin. Again, he's not a massive get, but he's someone I think you can go after. You mentioned Noah Brown. Noah Brown is a guy I think is a quality NFL wide receiver. We saw this when Houston dropped him, and he was immediately scooped up by Washington, literally the second became available. The problem is Noah Brown has only had one good game, and that one good game prior to last week was when he caught a Hail Mary at the end of the game in the end zone, and it was like a 60-yard touchdown reception. Last week, though, 10 targets, 6 receptions, 71 yards, and finished as wide receiver 25, but he did it against one of the worst defenses in, again, one of those situations where the team just went absolutely nuts in the fourth quarter. So is Noah Brown a viable target for this offense? Yes. Are they going to use him that way week in and week out? I don't know. What I will say is you can do a lot worse than him with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler potentially out.
Yeah, the one thing that sucks is they have the week 14 bye. So if you're grabbing him, it's either a 1 week thing or you're waiting until they get deeper in the playoffs, because then it's New Orleans, Philadelphia, and Atlanta to kind of round out the playoffs. So you can make the case for him in a couple of those weeks. I just don't mind him in this range. He's basically on pace to set career highs across the board. And he's 28 years old, so maybe it's a resurgent year. We don't know. His career high is 74 targets. He already has 52. So he's well on his way to breaking that. We'll see if he keeps up the pace or not. I think I definitely like him as well. It's just you kind of have to be careful with the bye weeks and where you guys are grabbing these guys. Because if you're picking up a guy this week and then you're just going to drop him next week, I would not pick up that guy. I would go target someone that's already had their bye week, like Vele or one of those guys that can give you kind of a longer run out. So know what you're going after these wide receivers, because there is a ton of wide receivers. The next group, the medium group, it starts with MVS. I get it. I'm consistently putting boom bust wide receivers in this group for a reason.
Yeah.
Because I'm chasing the boom out of this group of guys. He's just going off. It's like 39 yards of reception the last 2 weeks. It's just absurd. 21 fantasy points a game, 5 yards per out run. Obviously, it's not sustainable, but with this offense, they have no one else. Like, we're still waiting on Olave to get back there. Maybe getting Cedric Wilson back this week. But, like, yeah, they need someone to do something on that offense. So, like, and MVS has lived up to it. Like, obviously, he's the definition of a boom bust receiver without his career. I think he's fine. If you want a floor play, DeMario Douglas, you can do it. He's the Pats, slot wide receiver. Alec Pierce, who you mentioned last week, Jeremy, he's at 26%. He's a solid one. Mm-hmm. You could do the boom bust guy for the Colts instead of the Saints, right? You could go do that. Adam Thielen came back to life immediately. Was the whole Jalen Coker thing's weird because he was injured, but he basically deactivated Jalen Coker the runway for him to play the slot. And the last guy's Rashad Bateman at 39%. Rashad Bateman's been doing pretty well in Baltimore. So how do you feel about this middle range, you guys?
Yeah, it's super interesting. I mean, we got to talk about MVS a little bit more. I mean, and I want to talk about MVS by talking about Derek Carr. Of course, Derek Carr unlocks MVS the way that Patrick Mahomes. Where else was he? Was he in with Josh Allen in Buffalo for?
He's been a lot of places.
Yeah, the way these guys couldn't. No, that's stupid. But one thing that is smart is that Derek Carr throws a very catchable deep ball and a very accurate deep ball. Jesse, I know, will remember this vividly. But when Richard Sherman shut down the sorry ass receiver like Michael Crabtree, what did Michael Crabtree do the next season? He went to Oakland. And what did he do? He went off with Derek Carr. Derek Carr made Nelson Aguilar viable for a year, maybe even two, down the seam. He just throws that vertical ball down the seam and especially down the sideline. Better than 85% of quarterbacks in the league, and he does it consistently. And the MVS, if he can just keep catching the ball like he's been doing, which is always the issue for him, he's going to have opportunity there. So I think because he's paired with Derek Carr, because they don't have many other options, it's the Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill show until further notice. It's just going to be MVS, and I think if he's on waivers, you have to go grab him right away.
Yeah, like he's never going to be a high targeter. Like that's just never what he's going to be. So that's why I say he's boom bust. You're just counting on make a couple big plays a game, and like with that off, it's entirely possible the rest of the season. Like they're so bereft of talent. This is why you'll see multiple Saints, multiple Panthers. A lot of these guys I'll listen to these offenses because we're looking for guys to step forward in those offenses. So yeah, I think MVS is a good call, and like if he's available, which he's available in 65% of leagues, there's a good shot he's available. You take a shot on him, particularly if you're kind of desperate at wide receiver. Thankfully, there's no bye weeks, but like they're past their bye week, so you could in week 14 in the bye apocalypse coming up, you could flex them and play them there as well too. So it's not just this week; it's rest of the season as well. The guys in the shallow we don't talk about a lot. I think it's Cedric Tillman, it's Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman's the guys like the most. You could do the Romo Dunze, Keenan Allen if you want either one of those, or Jerry Jeudy. Like they're all available. Keon Coleman's just the most interesting because that wide receiver room is just chaotic right now. I don't know how it's going to work out. So I figured he targeted, see how it goes.
You mentioned Jeudy. I think you got to do Jeudy over the rest of those guys, though. Jeudy has been just on another level in terms of targets, 8, 11, 11, and then just 6 last week, but 6 caught all 6 for 85 yards. I mean, Jerry Jeudy has been balling out for the last month, and if he's available on waivers, you have to go get him because Cedric Tillman is far too boom bust, and he's busted way more than he's boomed, especially in the last 3 weeks here.
Well, yeah, especially because he's dealing with a concussion. He's probably not going to play in this game either. So it's really going to consolidate the targets around Jeudy, Elijah Moore, and also David Njoku. Those guys are more than all going to see double-digit targets. Now it's Denver, it's Pittsburgh, like they're brutal matchups. Yeah. But like we talk about, you just chase the volume of this passing offense. They're probably going to be behind against Denver. More than likely, that's going to work out. They're going to be passing a lot. So, yeah, you just chase it, see how it works out, and just kind of dive into the variance because Judy's already got, 78 targets on the season? I would say he's going to pass his career mark of 113. He might get there, but definitely got a good shot for it. So, yeah, you could definitely do the Jerry Judy thing. I think he's a good one. This is our week 13 show, man. We're with Thanksgiving coming, we are going to be dropping our ranking shows really soon this week. So we're going to jump into this really quickly and do that. So we're having that come out. I don't know if we're doing anything on Thanksgiving Day or not, but yeah, we're going to push stuff content all week. So if you're with us this far into the show, we very much appreciate it. Make sure if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We very much appreciate it. If you can comment, do everything you want. That's what we're here for, folks. So hope you enjoyed our week 13 show. I'm going to quit talking because we're just wasting time here. So for Jeremy, myself, for Essie and Aaron, I hope y'all enjoy your holiday if we don't talk to you then. And yeah, we'll see you later on this week. So have a good week, folks. Listen up.